Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Cerebral Palsy and Fitness Podcast. I'm here with Katie. She's actually working on her degree for public relations and marketing, and she also has cerebral palsy, and she's here to share her journey, her story, how she got there, and what her future plans are. And she seems like an amazing individual. So, Katie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm excited to kind of start off the show with tell me a bit about how you um well how you were when you were younger and growing up with cerebral palsy and how you got to where you're at today. Like any like motivators, any detractors, what got you here today?
Okay, so like you, I was born with mild to moderate cerebral palsy. Um, I use a power wheelchair for mobility, and it's a neurologic. For those of you who don't know, it's a neurological um disorder which primarily affects my mobility and fine motor skills, and it in no way affects my mind. I'm as smart as a whip, and I have the ability to pick up on simple, minute tasks easily and quickly. I have the cognitive ability to um, communicate with people and get messages across very quickly. And I have the ability to let my hair down and be serious when the need for presents itself. And I contribute a lot of my success to my family upbringing. Um, they never really let my disability be used as an excuse of not doing something. In fact, my parents' expectations of me were a little higher because they knew that they wanted me to be able to overcome whatever challenge that I faced, whether that be physical or emotional. So
Did you when you were growing up, did you struggle with bullying in school?
I actually did, but we got through it, and I I get a lot of questions about that. So, like how I was able to overcome that, and honestly, all I have to say is the support of my family and friends and the like personality of a go-getter, which means I don't care what you say about me. I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing regardless, you know, because I was often told that, you know, because of bullying, that I would never, go to graduate high school, go to college, any of that. And to look at me now, I have a associate's degree in human services, and I am now just thinking or starting to think about going back to school for my bachelor's in marketing and public relations, but we're not exactly sure how that's going to pan out yet. I'm getting a lot of experience in the public relations field, so we'll see how that goes.
I wish you uh, all the best in that a part of your journey. I know it's not easy, especially with especially dealing with disabilities ourselves. Um, we have opportunities out there, but it's very scarce because we're still kind of I believe even in 2021 right now, we're still dealing with the impacts of society and inclusion and acceptance and and even advocacy. It's hard to for some people to advocate, not like ourselves where we're going out there and advocating for ourselves, but um it's going to take more than just the two of us to really make a change in our society.
Right. Even like now at my current job, one of my duties, I guess you could say, or responsibilities that I've taken on as somebody with a disability is to be an advocate and be a positive light for those other people with disabilities that may have a harder time of it, in life. So, it's very nice to see, maybe not world renowned organization, but at least national organization that is willing to take the challenge on of allowing somebody with a disability to work there. So, I really respect their, I don't want to call it like gut, but their willingness to work with the disabled community regardless of the challenges you face. So,
It's that's all. It's always a good feeling when you can see how certain groups and certain people behave, and some of them try to actually make a difference in the disability community. And I wanted to ask you, what made you get into public speaking? Like, what was that one thing that told you, you know what? I've been sitting here for such a long time. I have this so-called gift that I can use to influence a lot of people. What made you decide, let me go ahead and share my story out there so that people know that there's positive behind it?
okay, so that goes along with, I'm going to highlight this as Valley's promise. Um, I, in 2007, after I graduated high school, like a few weeks after, no joke, applied for my first service dog from Canine Companions, which is a national organization that breeds, raises, and trains dogs to one day become assistance dogs for individuals with disabilities and other special needs. Um, and when I applied for him and got him in 2009, about 2 years later, I had no idea what was in store for me. I had no idea the doors that this dog literally would be able to open for me, both physically and um like figuratively. So we embarked on an 11-year journey that included but was not limited to getting into college, going to classes, getting internships. And when I got my dog, it's kind of a benefit, I guess you could say, of being a graduate of a national organization, that you're kind of a spokesperson. it's kind of one of the it's kind of one of the responsibilities we take on. So as a result of that, like, I was given the opportunity to share my testimony through Canine Companions. And from that, I kind of actually developed my own style. I developed more speeches because I realized that not everybody wants to hear about dogs.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like I decided to really, hone in my skills and really work on that. So I have, 3 or 4 different options for people that they can request from me um, to speak on. And as a result of that, like, doors have just kept opening, which is a good thing, because for me, finding a job, you know, was not easy. I had more doors shut in my face than actually opened. So, because people, a lot of times, I don't know if you face the same thing, but people see somebody with a disability and automatically assume that we can't do something before even like giving us the chance to show that we can.
Oh yeah, plenty of times. I spent my first year and a half after college pretty much volunteering because it was so difficult to just go through the interview process after interview process after interview process,
Yeah,
application rejections. And it really can take a toll on your, not only your mental health, but your self-esteem. And sometimes it takes uh it takes a whole lot to get you out of that funk.
right. And it has. And even today, you know, post pandemic or whatever you want to say, a year and a half later, I'm still struggling with some of those challenges. And luckily, I have a supportive family, supportive friends, supportive coworkers, supportive staff around me that really are lifting me up and encouraging me to move forward with marketing and public relations. Um, but honestly, it wasn't until like a few months ago, a few weeks ago, when I sat down with my supervisor, who I hold so much respect for. He has made a tremendous amount of impact on my life, both personally and professionally. Um, when he sat me down and said, "Okay, what are you good at? Like, what are those things that you can really sit down and say, I can do this? You know, all limitations aside, I can really do this." And so I really had to sit down and think, because yes, public speaking is wonderful, and speaking on podcasts and doing events is wonderful, but it's not always, you don't always have opportunities. So I really had to sit down and think, okay, if the world were to come to an end tomorrow or whatever, and I was the only one left in my family to support myself, could I really sustain myself on you know public speaking alone? And I really thought about it, and I also thought about the fact that someday, I don't know when that's going to be, but I hope to be a wife and you know a mom in the future. So I had to think about that as well, and how I was going to manage a household, because not everybody can work with a disability, and I'm very lucky that I can. So um that's where we are. I'm really working on my skills and perfecting my skills to the best of my ability. Yes, I have things to work on, and truth be told, I'm not even sure I have what it takes, but I'll get there one step at a time.
Exactly. I mean, it takes, like you said, like you hit the nail right in the coffin. It takes a day at a time. We could be successful one day. It'll take us a week, a month, a year. We'll
Right.
get there. But one thing I would definitely recommend is try to keep the self doubt out of the situation, and think of yourself as, I can do this. But I don't know if you have the same mentality as I do, but I've always believed in myself as the underdog, because if you believe in yourself as a champion, you tend to not work as hard, versus if you tend to think of yourself as, I'm still not there yet. I'm still not there yet, but you continue to work harder and harder and harder. And like you said, all these doors keep opening. So I feel like you and I are kind of an underdog, almost similar. We have the
Hmm.
same mentality.
Right.
Yeah, I don't believe in the champion. I mean, I used to, and then I realized, if you believe in yourself as a champion all the time, you're gonna slack off, and you're not going to do as well as you want to. So, I mean, and to go back to your situation, it's incredible the fact that you've so far overcome all of this, especially, through school, and then the workforce, and your disability in general. You haven't let anything stop you, and people need to know that. People need to know that there are individuals out there like yourself that keep going, and they don't show self-pity for a second.
Right. And the one message that I could leave behind would be, just because somebody has a physical disability, it does not mean that their mind is impacted. So please treat them with the dignity and respect that they deserve, and treat those of us, in that situation like adults. We're not children. You don't need to walk up to us and talk to us like 5-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a way of telling people there's when I go up to adults, I tell them in their terms versus kids, I tend to tone it down a little bit to their level. Kids and adults have two totally different mindsets. I deal with students all the time. So when they ask me, I'm like, I joke around about it, and then because I'm like, feel free to, feel free to say whatever you want. And it's all cool. And then I joke around a lot about it because I'm comfortable in my skin. Some people aren't, but um, there's two different levels to speaking to an adult and speaking to a child. And sometimes adults tend to be a bit more, so to say, blunt and a lot harsher than kids. I don't know about you. I don't know if you see it that way.
I do, because especially being a former service dog handler and somebody who's hoping to get back into that world, adults treat you much differently than kids do. And I don't know if it's because of the dog. They see a cute dog, it's like dog. So, um, or if it's just generally because kids have, they're educated now, and they have people with disabilities in their classes, and inclusion is more widely used now, because people with disabilities, you know, they're graduating high school, they're going to college, they're they're having successful lives regardless of the limitations they face. So, it's been incredible to kind of see how the world has opened up in 2021, um, COVID virus aside. So I'm really happy with how life's been, and yes, I have down days, but we all do. So you just got to pick yourself up and move on. So
Keep on moving, right? That's all we can do.
right.
And I know, um, I think it was a couple months ago. I guess I guess I accepted an invite where I think you do dancing. Is it dancing or dance classes maybe or something like that?
I have a YouTube channel, and I also, um what else do I do? I also do public speaking on the side. So, you guys can all follow me on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel as well under the same name. So,
Yeah, no, feel free to send it to me after our show, and I'll link it to the YouTube.
okay.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing your journey, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where you go from now into the future. And I hope to be able to speak alongside you at one of the conferences one of these days.
Thank
It'd be pretty
you.
awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity. So,
You're welcome, and I hope to be able to collab in a future project. So we'll see what we can come up with.
we'll see. Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
Definitely. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us on the show. Thank you to Katie. If you want to find this episode, it'll be on Spotify, iTunes, Red Circle, YouTube, and every other major podcasting outlet out there. And remember, if I can do it, so can you.